A daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on with morning mindset. And last, it was a couple of episodes ago. I don't remember which one it was. It doesn't really matter. I mentioned pitching manure or getting rid of the manure or something like that, and it sparked a memory. Now, when I was a teenager, I had the good fortune to spend some time to live on a small farm and to live in farm country in rural Ohio. And a lot of people who live on farms when they're young, especially if they're born into it, they don't realize that they are fortunate. When I say I was fortunate to have that experience, I am being 100% genuine and sincere. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, which is not farm country. And I grew up there in the Detroit area and the suburbs of Detroit all my life until we were about 15 years old or so. Detroit took just a horrible turn, and it never got better. It's still terrible. And my parents decided that was not a good environment for their family, so we moved. My mom had actually been born in Ohio, and we relocated to Ohio, not very far away from where my mom was born and lived as a small child. Anyway, long story short, I went from living in the city, the metropolitan Detroit area, to rural Ohio, genuine farm country. And living in farm country as a teenager, I got to learn what it was like to do farm chores, to bale hay in the summertime, which is backbreaking work. Let me tell you what, you want to toughen up your kids, make them bale hay. And straw is easy, because straw is so much lighter than hay. Bale hay, bale straw, do field work, paint barns, feed the animals, and that was something you always did. And pitch manure. Yes, indeed. Now, if you don't know anything about farm life, I'm going to go ahead and hip you. On small farms, or in small farms, you have animal stalls for cows and horses and all kinds of stuff. And in the wintertime, it's easier to just throw straw into the stalls on top of the existing manure. You know, the horses and cows, so they do their business, and it's cold and nasty and so forth. So what do? All winter long, you just keep throwing fresh straw onto old straw in the stalls. But eventually, the snow melts, you open the barn up, you get the animals out, and now what do you have? What do you have? You have a stall full of crap, full of manure, and it's not going to clean itself out. Someone's going to have to get in there, and often those are teenage boys who want to make some money, get in there with the pitchfork and get it out. Now, when you walk into it initially, because there's straw on it, and it's been trampled down by the cattle or the horses or whatever, the animals have trampled it down, it doesn't smell all that bad until you take that pitchfork and you stick it in there and you heave out the first couple of loads. And then it really gets nasty. And you don't want to do it. I mean, who wants to stand there, shin deep with rubber boots on and a pitchfork pitching out manure? That's not a fun thing. Nobody wants to do it. But guess what? It needs to be done. It's not going to do itself. The cattle or the horses or whatever, they're not going to clean their stall out. You got to get in there and you got to take care of that nasty mess. It's got to be done. Now, once it's all done, it's a positive. You pitch it into the wagon, and then, if you, if your father, or your uncle, or whoever you're working for, they take the manure spreader and they drive it out in the field and they spread it all over the field, and it fertilizes the field, and that's a good thing. It's a positive, right? At the end, when it's all done, it's a good thing. But it takes work, and it's nasty work, and it's not fun, and it's not enjoyable. You say, all right, thank you for sharing your story from your youth about pitching manure, Paul. What does that have to do with me? I'm going to tell you. Every once in a while, you need to clean the manure out of your life. Yes, everyone, me, you, everyone, has some manure, some waste, some crap in their life. Some people have a lot, some people have a little. I don't know, I can't tell you your experience, but bad and destructive habits. Sometimes, spring comes around and you need to take a step back, examine your life, and determine whether or not you have bad or destructive habits in your life. That's manure. It needs to go. Get rid of it. People in your lives can be negative influences and they can be positive influences. You can have people that help you to be a better person. And then you can also have people in your life that, if you are completely and totally honest with yourself, do not help you to lead a better, more positive, successful life. And as a matter of fact, they do the opposite. They keep you from achieving. They're D and C students or C and D students, and they think that that's great and that you should be like them and stop trying so hard and stop working so hard, and you're making the rest of us look bad. Sometimes there are people in your lives that are manure. Sometimes there are people in your lives that are essentially bad or destructive negative influences. You need to get in there, make an honest assessment, and pitch them. You need to pitch those people that are holding you back and that are acting as a negative influence. Now, is it going to be fun? No. You might be one of those people that doesn't like to hurt other people's feelings. And you don't want to do it. You're afraid to do it. You don't want to involve yourself in the emotional conflict of pitching that manure out of your life. But just like in the real world, it's a dirty, nasty, stinky job. But once it's done, what do we have? We have a fresh, clean start. We have a fresh, clean stall that doesn't stink and isn't full of crap. So every once in a while, you need to step back, have an honest assessment of your life, and figure out, do I have manure? Has manure been building up in my life in the form of bad or destructive habits, in the form of people that are negative influences? And if that's the case, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be stinky. It's going to be nasty. But you got to do it. Pitch that manure out of your life, and you'll be better off for it. All right, well, if you want to talk about how to make kids strong and productive and fearless, well, one of the ways is farm work. If you don't have access to a farm, there are other ways that you can help your kids to become productive, strong, and fearless young people. And I talk about that and a whole lot more in the book Team Honey Badger, Raising Fearless Kids in a Cowardly World. And that book is available on Amazon as a paperback or as a Kindle version. So avail yourself to that. I highly recommend it. If you have kids, if you know someone who has kids, if you're thinking about having kids, pick up the book Team Honey Badger on Amazon. I'm Paul Markle. I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.